In this video, we're going to go over the exact strategy I used to scale this Shopify store right here to $91,215.31 in about 26 days with Google Ads alone. Now, as always, before continuing on with this video, I want to go over to the Shopify dashboard to show you this explosive growth we have been able to achieve, a large portion of it coming through Google Ads. Now, I say a large portion because recently the e-commerce store owner did decide to put more of the profits that was coming in onto Facebook ads, onto Instagram, so on and so forth. But regardless of that, if we look at the previous time period, because essentially we launched the campaigns for this brand on the 15th of March, we look at it from February all the way up till yesterday, which is the 10th of April, we can see the sales were actually on a pretty bad downward trend overall compared to what had been happening back last year. But then basically once we started the campaigns, there was immediately an overall increase in the terms of revenue coming in, and this increase got even more severe in the last few days because the ads started to really optimize. The Facebook ads, Instagram ads also started to kick in. But we're going to cover a lot of different things along with the ad strategy, including the product and the strategy behind the landing page, the foundation that even made this scale possible, and much more. So this is one video you're gonna want to watch until the end. But let's start off talking about the actual product. What was the product getting sold? Now, of course, to keep it very broad, because for obvious reasons, security reasons, I cannot reveal the exact product, but it was more in the smart watch and the smart durable watch niche as a whole. So if we just type in smart watch on Google, or maybe even add the word smart durable watch in, this is kind of a similar product to what we are currently selling with this e-commerce brand right here. Very simple product, yet very competitive, because for those of you that know, the watch niche in general is pretty competitive. And the way to figure out whether your niche is competitive or not is to simply go on the keyword planner tool with Google and type in the main keyword related to your product. So in this case, what we could do is we could type in smart durable watch, or just durable watch in general, to see what is happening here. So first of all, we see there's not a lot of things coming up here. If we change it now to durable watch or heavy duty watch, things like that, then the search volume starts to increase. If we want to keep it very broad and just type in smart watch, because this is a smart watch which we were selling here, we can now see the overall search trend. Obviously, this looks like it's very consistent, but the kind of ideal way to figure out if the specific niche is competitive or not is to simply look at these bids right here. Now, I know these bids are not for shopping ads specifically, but even for search ads, these can give you a general idea as to how competitive that specific niche is. So one thing you want to keep in mind for this niche is the AOV overall is not the highest, but despite the AOV not being the highest, the bids are almost $2, which I personally believe is a bit too high, because we don't even bid $2 for brands with an AOV of $5,000. But basically, that's how you figure out how to know if your brand really is in a competitive niche or not. But this was pretty much the product here. Moving on now to the actual landing page strategy and landing page experience. Now, for obvious reasons, I'm not gonna reveal the exact store, but I will reveal two separate landing pages which mixed together ideally define the brand we were working with personally. So this is the first e-commerce brand right here. This is called alphagear.us. Very similar to our landing page here with this e-commerce brand. It's full on custom made, that's the first thing, but also look at how the background color, it's black. It's not white like majority of these other e-commerce brands. And that's because you want to, when it comes to the landing page strategy, be creating a landing page which directly relates to your ideal customer, not to just anybody else, not to the general public like this white background landing page, but rather to the person who's gonna purchase from you. And in this niche, in the durable niche, these are people who love the outdoors, who are into more rugged activities like camping, fishing, so on and so forth, that things that are more heavy duty and require smart gear, smart watches, heavy duty watches, so on and so forth. So this is the perfect kind of approach when it comes to the landing page for this e-commerce brand right here. But if you notice right here, they have a little timer going on at the very top. It says Easter sale, and then it says 30% off site-wide plus free shipping perfect way to add that timer in for a specific event that's currently happening now or that's about to happen, instead of having the timer as any other normal e-commerce brand would right below the add to cart button right here. But there's a very small description right here describing the product that's talking about a watch that can take a beating. Instead of just saying that the watch is 32 in circumference or whatever specifications that this watch might have, they're talking about specific words that can induce a feeling in the customer. This is exactly what we did to be able to scale explosively, like what has happened right here, going from $3,000, $1,000 a day all the way up to $9,000, even $15,000 in a single day. But along with that, then there's the basic trust factors like the trust badge, there's the upsell little box right here. And one important thing I'm seeing a lot of successful e-commerce brands, this one that we worked with included, have is this frequently asked questions section right at the very end of the product description. It's super important not only for SEO purposes, but actually to make a potential customer convert from just thinking about it to actually taking action. Because if you did it right, these FAQs should answer some important questions. But going down right here to the testimonial section, also very important to have. And then pretty much that's the end of the landing page itself. There's nothing too much extra going on. It's just the same exact things you would expect on a landing page, but just in a different style, in a different design, and an overall different layout. This is what makes Google Ads work for e-commerce brands in competitive niches like this. And the same thing for this e-commerce brand. Again, this is also kind of a similar layout to what we did. If you combine both of these, this is basically what we have. But again, a little description right here, the reviews, and then a special kind of offer, which is saying save $125. And then it tells you the delivery time, which I think is interesting right here. We don't necessarily do that for the e-commerce brand we're working with, but this right here is the perfect example of how a description should be, a custom-made description with actually GIF images instead of just photos, and then very beautiful images that are actual photos and not GIFs. Very straightforward. This is exactly how a landing page should be, and not just some basic Shopify landing page. This is exactly what we are doing for our e-commerce brand right here in terms of the landing pages. But that kind of covered the landing page overall layout. What about the actual back end? Because without a proper back end, none of these things matter. The landing page doesn't matter. The ad strategy doesn't matter. The back end, and I'm referring to things like the product images, the product title in terms of SEO, the product pricing, and of course the Google Merchant Center programs. These are all things which, in my opinion, make up the back end. And this is the foundation of any Google Ads account. This is the foundation of your scale. So to kind of illustrate how our ad was, it was something very similar to this, but with a lifestyle background like this one right here. So when it comes to the actual image, let's start off with the image and go one by one. I always say this has become a little quote that you can quote me on later. Do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. A very simple quote I personally created for Google Shopping Ads, and that's because it's literally that simple. If everybody here has their watch pointing to the left side or maybe on a white background image, you come in with your watch and you point it to the opposite side. It's simple as doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing. So that's exactly what we did. And again, the product that we sell is not coming up here because this is not the exact product we sell. It's very similar, but nonetheless, this is the exact strategy we used, and these are the same things we saw with the competitors for that product we're selling here. And it's not just one product, multiple products. We'll get to the campaign strategy very shortly. But essentially, we just flipped over the image because what we noticed is a lot of the products coming up here, they were pointed towards one specific direction. We of course wanted to do the opposite, so we pointed it towards a different direction, exactly what this brand is doing right here. And to top it off, we added actual custom background images and custom lifestyle images. So instead of just having something on a white background, it was very similar to this, of course not in a black background, but something in a real lifestyle, in a real view, like on a table, a wooden table, or maybe on grass, something where the product itself can actually pop out and be visible, because here it's really not that visible. But that's what we did, and that was enough to get our ad getting listed within the top 5 without betting an arm and a leg to rank up here. It's literally that simple, because with shopping, 95% of your success comes from the image. But along with that, it was about the title. So when it comes to the titles, you want to focus on search engine optimization techniques, but for 2 different things. The first thing for the algorithm, the second for the person reading. And the reason why I say the person reading is because a lot of e-commerce brands, they have this weird strategy of just having these SEO keywords with commas as their main title. So for example, here, if it were in commas with that strategy, it would be something like Carbinox, comma, Titan Pro, comma, rugged smartwatch, comma, indestructible tough smartwatch, comma. And this kind of follows that. It's good for the algorithm that you're doing this strategy, but it's not good for the person reading. They're gonna think you're unprofessional, you don't care about your overall appearance, and as a result, you're gonna lose more customers than you gain, even though you're in the top 5 listings. So you wanna keep that in mind, and you definitely wanna have SEO keywords, but the title written in a way that appeals to the actual average reader as well as the algorithm itself. But in addition, that brings us to the pricing. Again, we did nothing crazy here. Our pricing was very much average compared to what our top 5, top 10 competitors were doing. So it was right in the middle, not the most expensive, not the least. And then of course, the actual Merchant Center program. So of course, we had just gotten the brand approved for these reviews, hence why you can see there's such a big jump upwards, because just recently during this time the reviews were approved. They make a very big difference in the overall scale. And also we had the different types of promotions going on, like certain shipping promotions, certain promo codes, buy one get one free, so on and so forth. Again, just doing things to stand out of the crowd. But that was pretty much our approach for the actual back end, in this case the actual ad itself. And of course the brand itself had email flows. We don't necessarily take care of those because this brand we were working with under my Google Ads agency, Euro Marketing, which if you're currently doing $40,000 or more per month in revenue, you need just a little bit of extra help scaling your e-commerce brand to the next level. Go onto my website at euromarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how we can possibly work together and make that happen. But this sort of brought us to the Google Ads approach. Let's look at what was happening on the Google Ads side of things to understand how this brand was able to achieve explosive growth with the campaigns and everything combined. So as you can see right here, there were no campaigns running prior to March 15th, and this is kind of visible right here. But basically around March 15th right here is when we started those campaigns, and in the beginning there was a little bit of a jump upwards. It went all the way up to $4,500 in a single day, but it dropped right back down to $1,000, $500 a day, because these campaigns, they were on a brand new ad account. There had been no ad strategy launched before we came in. So everything was brand new, and hence why we had to go the standard shopping campaign route versus the Performance Max campaign route. But our approach here was very simple. It's always what I teach on my YouTube channel. It's launching one standard shopping campaign with all of your products, because if we go inside the standard shopping campaign right here, look at products, the reason why we couldn't really make this more fancy in terms of the strategies, because there were only 6 products. We could not further segregate this campaign out, nor could we segregate it out based on KPIs and any of that stuff. So we just decided to jam pack every single product that we could potentially sell inside this one campaign and just let Google do the rest with a very competitive bid. So we set the bid at around 60 cents, 70 cents, and we let the campaign run. And that's basically what we did from the beginning. As you can see, in the beginning, we got on the first day a decent jump in revenue, 37x ROAS on the very first day, and then it dropped back down to kind of the normal levels of what you would expect. And it has been around this range right here. But the interesting thing is, because the data started to come in via this campaign, now the campaigns that we have running along with this, which is the search campaign, which is a generic cold traffic search campaign, a YouTube campaign, and also the branded search, all of these campaigns started to get more and more results. They started to spend more and more money along with the standard shopping campaign. Because again, our main goal of launching these 4 campaigns is to feed data on the account level, on the very broad level, not just to feed the campaign individually enough data. So that's essentially what we did right here. We launched the standard shopping campaign, and then we launched the search campaign for basically all of the 6 products combined as a collection. And as you can see, it's doing fairly decently. The break-even ROAS is about a 1.7x here, so it's above break-even, which is what we want. This YouTube campaign is still progressing upwards. Of course, YouTube is more of a long-term game. It takes a bit longer to get that successful. And then the branded search campaign is getting back all potential lost sales, all the people who come to us via these shopping campaigns, and so on and so forth. So a very simple approach to the Google Ads strategy. I would not say this was the strategy that caused the brand to really explode at this level. It was basically everything we did from the beginning, from the foundation to the actual ad itself, to the landing page, helping the brand improve their landing page, to then actually setting up a good shopping listing which stands out, and then finally combining it with the ad strategy. That's what made all of the difference. But as you start to scale, you start to deal with certain issues, and that was the same for this e-commerce brand. Unfortunately, we started dealing with certain issues during this time period of people, other e-commerce stores actually coming in, copying the entire landing page design, copying the product and selling the same exact thing. Because with this product, even though it's shipped from the USA, you can easily find this product on dropshipping websites, which is an unfortunate thing for this brand. But these e-commerce stores, they started copying the brand and selling the same exact product. So basically what happened was, during this time period, we had to file a bunch of DMCA notices to these e-commerce brands to get their store shut down, or at least that landing page taken off. So that was a bit of extra work. And of course, when more competition arises all of a sudden, especially competition that's copying your landing page and your overall product, then that becomes a very big problem. Again, dealing with that is part of the game when it comes to e-commerce, and this brings us to the long-term growth and scale of this brand. As you can see right here, since this time period, we've only been kind of going upwards in terms of the overall ROAS. It's been at a 7x ROAS, 4x ROAS, 6x ROAS. Things are looking pretty decent for this e-commerce brand. Long term, it's about doubling down on the standard shopping campaign, potentially converting it to a performance max campaign, adding more search campaigns, adding in the mix display, discovery, and more YouTube, and then combining it with more campaigns for other countries. So international targeting, that's the best way to scale this brand because it has only 6 products. But again, if you're doing $40,000 or more per month in revenue, you need just a little bit of extra help scaling your brand to the next level like we did with this brand. Go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how we can potentially work together and make that happen. But I want you to watch this video right here on how I lower ad costs when it comes to Google Ads fast, so I can get decent results like these without spending too much money or without going unprofitable.